I'm getting my chips. Okay, it has been a week since I have been here in Aarhus. I've had the most hectic, overwhelming, kind of week, like literally possible. Obviously, I knew that moving to another city, let alone another country, would be very, very difficult. But I guess I didn't realize how difficult it would be until I actually got here and then had to deal with all the things that I had to deal with. It is 3:15 on a Sunday and I just had my first meal of the day. The reason why I had my first meal of the day so late in the day is because I've been on an absolute manhunt for a bike. While I've been here, I've obviously been walking everywhere, and normally it would be fine, but it has snowed. The wind is like some insane 50 kilometers per hour. That may be an exaggeration, maybe it's 30, but it's very, very windy and the wind is very, very, very cold, and there's ice everywhere on the ground, and you're just like trying really hard to not get killed by a bike because the sun's come out. And then plus you're trying to like get all your groceries and carry this, and you just bought that and blah, 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 big shampoo bottle, whatever. And then you gotta walk in the wind, in the snow, carrying this big bag. It's not cool. It's really not cool. So all of this to say that I had to go and trek to get a bike from Marketplace, and I had to detour 15 minutes to go to an ATM to get some cash. Sorry about the lighting. The sun just keeps going in and out all the time. And it's kind of nice because I've not seen the sun in like, I don't know how long. But also it's just messing up the lighting. So sorry about that. So the walk to the ATM was 15 minutes, and then I got there and then there was no ATM. Google lied to me. So then I had to walk a little bit further, and thankfully there was an ATM there, but then that meant I was late going to this lady's house. So I half ran to this lady's house, and that was another 30 minutes. And then I got there, and very, 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 very unfortunately for me, tried the bike and it was too big. Obviously, because I'm a little shorty, everything has to be difficult to find a bike that fits me. And so I had all these plans to go grocery shopping because it was a little bit further out, and there were a bunch of like shops like the Asian grocer and whatever up that way. And I had planned with my new bike to go and get all of these supplies and get all these sauces and like the heavy stuff. But then I left without the bike because the bike didn't fit me. And then I had to like walk all the way to the shops and then walk all the way back. So in one trip I did 11,000 steps, and I think I'm averaging every day close to 20,000 steps a day, I think. Hilariously, I do actually genuinely think I need to get a girl's bike, like a child's bike, because every other bike has been too big for me. I'm literally so terrified that I'm gonna get hit by a bike and die. I'm being so serious. The bikes run this city, and people have gone to hospital, like pedestrians have gone to hospital like very, very often for injuries from bikes. I'm absolutely scouring Facebook Marketplace because I'm convinced that my life is going to get infinitely better once I get a bike here. Fingers crossed. And when it gets warmer, my life will infinitely get better when it gets warmer here, because the cold is actually inappropriate. So, due to my frazzledness and overwhelmedness of this week, I have basically no content to show you guys, which is great. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit here and chat and share my first thoughts of Denmark, my school, the city, being in a new country, being in a new city. And in a week, I've already collected so many interesting random facts about Aarhus or Denmark that I thought everyone would be really interested in knowing, because I'm very interested. Just on that previous topic of bikes, people like sometimes don't lock their bikes here. They just like literally leave them on the side of the street. Not attached to anything, not even like locked on the wheel. They just leave it there, and you could genuinely just wheel it away. But no one does, because there's like an insane amount of trust here for bikes and all these kind of things. So, I don't know if I said it before, but I have realized that us Australians are the ones who are in fact driving on the wrong side of the road. Everyone else, like other than England, drives on the right side of the road. So that has been really interesting to try and navigate like which side you're supposed to walk on the sidewalks and things like that. Obviously I won't say exactly where I live because internet safety, but I am about a minute walk away from school, which again is nice, is great, it's all good and well, but the wind absolutely kills me. Absolutely kills me. It is freezing. I'd love to talk about grocery stores because I have finally sort of gotten my head around them. First comment about grocery stores. All the produce here sucks. Like, sucks so bad. I've also noticed here that grocery stores hate loose veggies and fruits. A lot of the grocery stores that I've been in only sell things in packs. So I had to buy a whole kilo of onion because I couldn't just buy one onion. It wasn't in any of the shops. I couldn't just buy loose onion. Same with potatoes, same with carrots, same with tomatoes even sometimes in some of the shops. I was wanting to get some spinach, but a box like maybe that big of spinach cost $5 and it was all wilting and it was just, it looked terrible. And I was just like, you know what? I might just have to resign to eating frozen veggies for the entire time I'm here because all those fresh fruits and veggies do not look appealing at all whatsoever. For the very first shop that I did film a little like looking at the receipt and looking what I bought and comparing costs and things. So I will insert that now. I thought everyone would be interested to see what I bought and how much it costs. And I'm also interested because I couldn't really figure out the conversion quick enough to clock how much I was spending when I was actually there. So I have my receipt. I'm going to show you what I bought and how much everything is. So I went to the grocery store Netto, which I'm yet to figure out whether that is a cheap or an expensive supermarket, but I think it's a cheap supermarket. I did find an app that compares all the catalogs of all of the supermarkets that you choose. And so I did get a few things, I think, on special, but for the most part, I think this is just normal prices for them. For dinner today, I'm doing white people taco night. So I've got things for that. I've also got bread. And that's it. I am also starting from scratch, so I did get some spices and things like that. So I got 2 packets of beef mince, and that cost 47.95 Danish kroner, which times 2 is 95.90. I don't know if that's cheap or not. I got a loaf of bread. I think this was the cheapest one that I could find. This one was 7.93 Danish kroner. All of the produce in the supermarket looked terrible, / it was moldy. So I had to get the tomato in a packet, which ended up being maybe 1 kroner more expensive than if I was to buy it loose, but it looks a lot better than the ones that were loose. So 5 tomatoes was 16 kroner. I had to buy a whole bag of onions. So that was a kilo of onions and that cost me 12 kroner. The plan is to dice them and slice them and then just freeze them in Ziploc bags because obviously I cannot get through this many onions while they are fresh, but we don't waste in this household. So we are going to just chop them up and freeze them, and then I'll just have onions prepped for whenever I need them. I was gonna get taco shells because hard tacos are the best. But they were more expensive than just getting tortilla chips, so I just got some tortilla chips. These are the tortilla chips, and they were 7.91 Danish kroner. Salad mix, this was expensive. This was 12 kroner for just this little bag. Taco sauce, which was 8.61 kroner. Butter, which is like their home brand, I think, 12.76 kroner. And then I got these spices. Oregano for 6.50 kroner. Paprika for 6.50 as well. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that is nutmeg. That one was 11.08. And then this is cumin for 10.95 Danish kroner. I did have a crash out realizing that I had to buy everything from scratch. So I had to go and buy all my spices again. I had to go and buy honey, which is so expensive. I had to go and buy all of these things like Ziploc bags and laundry powder and all this sort of stuff that you just like always have and you just never think twice about. I was able to cook my first meal, which did help me feel a little bit more settled, which was nice, and I made white people tacos. I think that day and the memories of cooking that meal will just be forever ingrained in my mind. After a long day of figuring out what the hell you're doing, where you are, just getting your head around like physically being here. I had to go out into the cold to the shops to go get all of my supplies, then crashed out in the shops, standing there being like, what the hell am I looking at? How much do these things cost? I don't know anything of what's going on. And then people are like standing next to you being like, what are you doing? Can you like move? You're standing here so long. And then after you tackle the grocery store, you've got to go back out in the cold, walk back to your house, and then you go into the house and you're like, oh my God, I don't know where anything is in this kitchen. I don't know how to turn the stove on. I don't know how to use the oven. I don't even know if there's a microwave or a rice cooker or a toaster or any sort of appliance in here. I don't know where anything is. Where the hell are your plates? Where the hell are your cups? I don't know where anything is. All of my moments where I'm feeling particularly overwhelmed or particularly tired or particularly sad about life, I guess, all happen to be when everyone is asleep. My roommate was here on Monday and here on Tuesday, and then she left to go to her hometown before uni starts. So she's been gone from Wednesday and she's coming back later this evening. But I have just been alone in this apartment this whole time. Then the absolute cherry on top is the fact that Denmark, for some reason, has 6 bins. So, you know, I'm so overwhelmed, having a bit of a cry, blow my nose, whatever. Then I stand at the bin and I'm like, oh my God, what bin does my friggin' snotty tissue go in? I don't know. I'm just pulling it up because I need to share with you how many friggin' bins there are and what all the categories are because I still don't even know. Number 1, glass and metal. And that does not include the glass bottles that you can recycle and get money back for. Number 2, plastics, food and beverage cartons. So meat trays, milk cartons, juice cartons, plastic bottles, again, not the ones that you recycle for money, bubble wrap, etc. Number 3, paper, cardboard, and for some reason, textile waste is in this category too. Newspapers, magazines, paper bags, cardboard boxes, egg trays. And then you can put clothes in this bin, but they need to then be packed in a transparent tied bag, so plastic. Number 4 is food waste. So we have that, the green bins as well. 5 is hazardous waste. So like aerosol cans, chemicals, batteries, light bulbs, all those sort of things. And then the 6th one is everything else, which their examples are pizza boxes, ash and cigarette stubs, hygiene waste, crisp and coffee bags, empty tubes, and vacuum cleaner bags. So 6 bins, and every time I want to throw something out, I have to genuinely stand there for like 5 minutes being like, where does this go? Also, funnily, in this apartment block, and maybe all apartment blocks, there are just no like rubbish bins. There's no waste or like rubbish room or whatever in your apartment block. So you got to go out of the apartment with all your rubbish and like put it in the street bins. I don't know. Another really random and strange thing is how they write their addresses here in Denmark, or maybe it's just an Aarhus thing, I don't know. How they write it here is they do the street name first and then the number, and then more often than not, there are no unit numbers. So the way you distinguish your unit is generally you have 3 units per floor. Currently, I live in an old building and it's a pretty big apartment complex, but the way the buildings are divided, your address only has 3 apartments per floor. So it's like one giant building, but it's split. So like number 2 is here and it's completely joined to number 4, but it's like a completely separate building. And then you go inside like number 4 or something, and then you go up the stairs and say you live on level 2. Once you get to the landing of level 2, you've either got to the left, to the right, or center. I haven't started any Danish classes yet, so I will not attempt to like say this in Danish. Basically, if you live on the second floor in the apartment on the left. Your address would be Water Street 4, which is like number 4, like building number 4 on Water Street. And then your apartment would then be comma 2 TV dot. It would be 2, which is your floor, and then TV, which is to the left. So random. It's all really funny because it makes complete sense, but it's so random to me. What else is there to talk about? Oh, my school. So I had orientation this week. I arrived very, very late on Monday night. Oh my gosh, I need to tell the story of my trip. Look, okay, listen. Everyone has been absolutely raving to me about how good trains and buses and whatever are in Europe, but every trip that I've taken that wasn't on a plane was like full of problems. So I spent last weekend in Copenhagen and I needed to get to Aarhus. Very unfortunately for me, they were doing a lot of track works, so I couldn't get a direct train from Copenhagen to Aarhus. And so I decided to get a bus that would take me on a ferry across the sea. Sounds so nice. Sounds so fun. I'm just going to give you the short story. Bus arrived to the bus port in Copenhagen early. Bus informed everyone that they were in fact late and had to do a round to the airport, and then they're going to come back and come get us. Bus does the round to the airport, takes about 45 minutes, then he comes back. When the driver comes back, he's notably very frustrated. He's like trying to rush everyone to get on the bus. There was some issue with the tickets. Majority of the bus had tickets that said 11 a.m. But maybe about 20 of us had tickets that said 11:30 a.m. Bus driver was frazzled and pissed off. Did not want to take anyone who had an 11:30 ticket. Very unfortunately, I was one of those people that had an 11:30 ticket. Even though you looked on the website and then the only bus route that they had around that time was 11:30. So I don't know how everyone got these tickets that said 11 a.m. Anyway, it's freezing cold. Because I arrived at the bus port early because I was paranoid I was going to miss the bus, at this point I've now been waiting over an hour in the friggin' cold, in the wind. I've genuinely, again, have never been that cold in my life. Bus driver refuses to let us on. He packs up the bus, drives away, and 20 of us are just stranded at the bus station. One of the passengers, bless her soul, called the company and was like, hey, what's up? We've just been stranded here. We think that bus was supposed to take us, but he refused and he didn't want to take us. Company says, don't worry. A new bus is coming in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, I can see it on my map. It's fine, all sorted, you're good. I'm sure you'll be shocked to know that the bus never came. So we waited another 20 minutes just out in the cold being like, where the hell is this bus? Passenger calls the company again. Hey, what's going on? Bus never came. Then it turns out that that original bus driver who refused all of us to get on the bus was supposed to take us, and however long he'd been driving for, he's now been instructed to turn around, drive all the way back to come and get us, and then we'll go. So my ticket said depart at 11:30. I think we ended up departing at about 1:30, which meant that we had to then miss the ferry that we were supposed to be on, had to go get on the next one, and then I think I was supposed to arrive at 3 p.m. and I ended up arriving at 5 p.m. And my poor, lovely roommate had very, very kindly offered to come and get me from the bus station. And poor thing was just waiting there for me because I had no idea when I was going to arrive. And by the time I arrived, it was dark. And when it gets dark, you just feel like the whole day is over. Again, I've never been this cold in my life. I genuinely thought I was going to get hypothermia and die because the wind was actually inside of my soul. It was so bad. So after a whole ordeal, I arrived to Aarhus super late and then absolutely crashed. And then Tuesday, I was running around doing some errands. I met up with the girl who has come from UTS with me. Her name is Lucy. We had a really nice morning, had a bit of a wander around. But you know when you wander around and you're not really focused because you're just frazzled. So I was just kind of following where Lucy was going. And yeah, it was a bit of a hectic day. And then I came back here and tried to sort my room out a little bit and unpack and plug in my chargers, etc. So it was a very, very busy day on Tuesday. And then I started my orientation on Wednesday. They very, very kindly put on some breakfast for us, which was really, really nice of them. And it was there that I discovered that Danes really love bread that has like carrots in it. And then you cut the bread. You can put butter if you want to, but I don't think that they generally do. Or maybe, I'm not sure. But you get this bread with carrot in it. You put one slice of cheese and then you put jam on top. And then you eat it like as a sandwich. I was not brave enough to try it that day because I was very tired and overwhelmed and just not my finest moment to try something new. So I did have cheese and bread on one, like I had cheese on one half and then I had jam on the other half. And separately, they were really nice. But now that I've chilled a little bit, I'm actually keen to try this cheese jam concoction that they've got because everyone was doing it and everyone was loving it. So anyway, that was intro to the school and tech stuff and email and I don't know, all the admin sort of stuff for the school. Met all the other exchange students, which was really lovely. There's about 40 of us. Most people from Europe. There are 7 of us from Sydney, 3 of us from UTS, 2 from USyd, and 2 randomly from Newcastle. And then, yeah, everyone else was European. A lot of Germans. A girl from New York State, and then 1 girl from Mexico. And that was it. Everyone else was European. Everyone there was really, really nice. So it was good to finally have some people to like chat with and who are navigating the same thing as us, like figuring out how to live in another city. Where do I buy this? How do I pay for the bus? Like all that sort of stuff. And then I met a bunch of people who this was their first time moving out of home. So, you know, kudos to them. That's really brave. The school itself is actually really, really cool. So as far as I understand, I'm going to get a desk where I can like put all my things and leave all of my things. And every time I work in class or in the studios, I will sit at this one desk, which will be fun. They have lots of really good facilities. They have like a full wood workshop, metal workshop, like numerous amounts of printers and cutters and all that sort of stuff. And then this huge like multi-use workshop thing. They have like a dedicated room where you mix concrete and stuff like that. They have a spray booth. They have, what else? And then they have a shop, like a materials and books and paper and pens and all that sort of stuff. They have a materials shop in the school as well. They have a canteen. They have computer lab. They have like rec areas. So football, ping pong tables, coffee machines, like they're like fully decked out. They did say that no one brings their homework home. Everyone tries to do everything in studio, which I absolutely love and I will completely be participating in because I just don't want to be a maniac working all the time and doing uni stuff all the time because I have to live and enjoy myself while I'm here because I'm literally living in another country. So that's really good and hopefully work-life balance will exist in here. I need to tell you guys about the library. The library is amazing. It is huge. It's like 3 stories or something and it's just full, absolutely full of architecture books. There is nothing in this library that's not architecture related. Every book is about architecture. Moments like this, I do really regret only going for 6 months because there's genuinely not enough time for me to even digest like even the tiniest little bit of this library and how many books they have and how many things and resources they have available because it's actually unreal. I did think it was really interesting. They had this whole section in the library of past students' work, which I might just go and suss out and see what things are like and what kind of work they've been doing. And then they also have a materials library, which was also quite fascinating. You can't borrow any of the samples. You can't take the samples out, but apparently there's some verbal system that happens around presentation time where if you, for whatever reason, need to bring a brick to your presentation, you can like borrow the brick for just that day or that presentation and then you bring it back. And then yeah, it's really wholesome because at 12 or 12:30, the whole school just like pauses and stops and sits down for lunch all together. They have a canteen and in the canteen there's like maybe 4 long huge tables And everyone just gathers there and sits all together for lunch, which I thought was really, really wholesome. So then Thursday and Friday, I had more inductions. I did an induction into all the cutters and the workshops, stuff like that. And then we did a woodworks induction in the workshop, and I made a little fish. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go get it. This is my little fish, guys. Yeah, she's not the cleanest, but I'd say that's pretty good for my first time on almost all of the machines that they had. I've used the jigsaw before. Is it? No. The bandsaw? I've used the bandsaw before, and I've used like some of the sanders before. But this is my first time like using the giant big machines that they have for like cutting bigger pieces of wood, and also like drills and stuff like that. I've never really used for woodworking like this, so that was fun. And that was the little fish that I made. Now I don't know what to do with it. You will all be absolutely shocked beyond anything to hear that in my 1 week of being here, I've gone out twice. Yes, you heard that correctly. That is actually huge. That's actually huge for me. 2 very, very interesting nights. The first night was really fun, but I was extremely sober because I didn't realize that I was going to a party. I thought it was just gonna be like something chill, and I thought I'll just like have a drink when I get there. And then I rock up, and apparently it's the medicine building of the Aarhus University. Kind of like gave off like frat vibes. They were just like putting on this party, and drinks were super cheap, and it was all fun, and they were just playing all this like Danish clubbing music the whole night, which was really fun. And then last night, I don't know if it's like the student housing organization or some sort of like student organization put on some internationals party to welcome exchange and Erasmus students to Aarhus. So a bunch of us went to that, and the party was terrible. And we went out to a club. But the club, I think, was just absolutely full of like 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds. So I very quickly left because it just like felt very, very strange. But nevertheless, it was nice to go out and see the city and have fun. And walking home while you are a little bit drunk was significantly better, because you just like are not really aware of how much time is passing, and you're not really feeling the cold as like intensely as if you were sober. So I think yesterday my outfit was just like a nice top, and then I put a thermal on top, and then I wore my puffer jacket, and I just hoped for the best that I wouldn't be freezing. And it was freezing when I was going there, but then I was okay when I was coming back. I think you just gotta trust the alcohol blanket a little bit and just mentally prepare yourself to be a little bit cold. First party though, I did not realize again that I was going to a party, so I just rocked up in like what I was wearing that day, and then it was like a whole dance floor, and it was super hot in there. This is a thermal top, but this is like a nice, you know, scoop neck thermal top. So that day I just had my jumper and a t-shirt and then a really ugly thermal underneath. So instead of wearing like a nice thermal like this, I had to just be in like this t-shirt with this like thermal top underneath. It was not cool. And everyone was like in, you know, cute, nice little tops, because obviously they are European and know what to do when you go out. And it's freezing outside, but not me. Not me at that time, but now I know what to do. Also, again, on the note of the weather, snow is so annoying. This is like my second time that I've seen snow. This Europe trip is my second time that I've seen snow. First time I ever saw snow was when I went to Japan with Mitchell. And that was very different because the snow was plentiful and I didn't really experience it actively snowing as far as I can remember. And also the sun was out, and also there was no wind. So very different condition to being here in an incredibly windy city, and the snow is so tiny, and it's blowing at you and it's like blinding you. It was like, you know, like really going right in my face and in my eyes, and I was like, I feel like I need to wear like protective goggles because it was just too much. I couldn't deal with it. Even thinking about it now, that whole excursion to school in the snow was awful. And then everyone came into school and there were a bunch of like Australians who'd never seen snow before, and so they were all like, oh my god, it's snowing, so exciting. I'm like, yeah, it's like novel, you know, it's pretty novel for me too, but my god, I like just nearly lost an eye today going to school. It's crazy. Oh, I also like got all of my details finalized for my residence permit. So now I have access to the national health insurance in Denmark. So I can go to all these like specialist doctors for free. I can go to the hospital and get free treatment there. I've also been allocated a GP, like I've been given a GP specifically to go to, and everyone in Denmark gets given a GP to go to. Shame, the lady was so cute. She was like, oh, I'm just trying to find a doctor that's near you. Do you have a preference, like male or female? I was like, oh, whatever, females would be great, but it doesn't really matter, it's fine. She's like, oh, I'm really sorry, I can't see a female doctor that's near you. There's one that's like a bus ride into town. It's a little bit closer to town, if you don't mind. It's about 2 kilometers away. I was like, huh? 2 kilometers is like nothing. That's fine, lady. I went to their like Service New South Wales equivalent, I guess, whatever their like local government thing. I don't know what you call it, but it was just in their public library. It's just like a little zone in their public library. And I just gave them my passport, and they were like, cool. Here's like your Danish social security number. So they call it a CPR number. So I have a Danish CPR number now. I can open a bank account. I can like, you know, buy a phone and do all that sort of stuff. I'm pretty much like in the Danish system now, which is really, really interesting, considering that I'm paying 0 taxes to them. I don't know, but it's good for me. So that has been my week in Aarhus so far. Lots still to figure out, lots still to do, but we're having fun and we are slowly getting used to things and getting settled in. Yeah, my first day of school tomorrow, which is very exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking because it's group work straight away, like 9 a.m. straight away, group work first thing. And I have a bunch of Danes in my group, which I'm a bit nervous because I've just heard that they're very reserved, and that's what we've been told, that they are very reserved, and you kind of like got to push the ice a little bit to try and get through to them. But hopefully I make some friends and hopefully people are nice. I'm sure they will be. They also said that the average age of students at this school is higher because apparently this school is really hard to get into, and people like take time to prepare to get into this school. On one of the orientation days, the student counselor who like represents the bachelor's program did a presentation for us, and she was 24 doing like second year or third year bachelor's. So a lot of the exchange students for the master's program are like 22, 23. And so hopefully I meet some people who are a little bit older. Nevertheless, everyone has been really lovely, and I hope that everyone is really lovely at school tomorrow as well. I have a lot of sightseeing that I want to see that I haven't had the time to do. So maybe next weekend, hopefully school won't be super hectic and I'll still have some time on weekdays and things like that. But yeah, sorry for the lack of content, but we're just trying to figure things out. So I will show you plenty more as the weeks go on. Until then, enjoy!